Yeah, so after many years, I've owned just a fair share of sim racing cockpits, so here are 20 tips that you should know when buying, owning, or upgrading yours. Number 1, know that the seat is rarely included, and they're usually pricey at the $300 to $400 price range for most brands. So yeah, when you go to a product's website and see the rig at its full glory and at a great price, know that most times they're only selling the frame itself without the seat. And then yeah, that's where you quickly realize that it was too good to be true. Number 2, regarding the seat, keep in mind that there are many types. Bucket seats look cool, but can be uncomfortable and or hard to get in and out of. Recline seats can easily recline, but generally have more flex on the backrest. And then hybrid seats, like Trak Racer's rally seat, is generally a good middle ground. Number 3, know that there are different types of rigs, all with their benefits and drawbacks. Aluminum profile rigs are often chosen by serious sim racers for their vast adjustability, compatibility, and sturdiness. Tubular rigs are most often great for people who care about how their rig looks and how fast they can make adjustments. And then of course there's everything in between with more unique rigs that also have their pros and cons. Number 4, if you plan on occasionally moving your rig out of the way or to different locations, investing in caster wheels will save you a lot of hassle. Now if you want a more budget-friendly option, a cheap hack is just to use carpet sliders, which also do a similar job. Number 5, if you're having a hard time getting in and out of your cockpit due to how low it sits to the ground, feet risers will help massively with that. Here on my daily rig, I'm using some from Six Sigma Sim Racing, which raises everything by about 6 inches, making a surprisingly notable difference. Number 6, you should know that there are 2 types of monitor stands. One is called integrated stands, which literally connect directly to your sim racing cockpit. This has the benefit of clearing up space and giving a very clean and modern look to your rig. The downside is that vibrations from your wheelbase, butt kickers, or a motion platform will also all reach your monitors. So in that case, the other type, freestanding monitor stands, are, you get the point, but the big drawback being that they require more space. Number 7, on the subject of taking up space, know that sim racing cockpits come in all types of shapes and sizes. Some, like the Trak Racer TRX and the Fanatec Club Sport rig, are literally massive and will take up a lot of real estate in your room, while others, like the Six Sigma Sim Racing 6S Slim or the Fanatec CSL Cockpit, have significantly smaller footprints. Number 8, before I continue, I'd also like to give a big thank you to MOZA Racing for sponsoring this video. MOZA, who needs no introduction, is a leader in high quality, high performance sim racing equipment at all price ranges, and it's also what I use on my day-to-day rig. So whether you're looking for a high quality budget sim racing setup or a high-end professional sim, MOZA Racing has got you covered with one of the biggest selections of direct drive wheelbases, steering wheels, pedals, shifters, handbrakes, you name it. So if you're looking to get into sim racing or just upgrade your setup, make sure to visit MOZARacing.com via the link in the video description, and thank you again to MOZA for sponsoring this video. Okay, seriously, number 8, when purchasing a sim racing cockpit online, place close attention to what is and what is not included. As mentioned earlier, the seat usually is not, but you may also be surprised to know that things like shifter mounts often are not either. So avoid yourself any disappointment or unwanted surprise by paying close attention before paying a lot of money. Number 9, you may wonder what the difference between a $500 and a $1,200 aluminum profile chassis is, and well, it's quite a lot despite them both looking similar online. Higher end rigs generally offer greater rigidity with thicker, larger profile beams, meaning less flex. The aluminum is often better finished with cleaner cuts, anodizing, and beveled edges that feel premium. You'll also notice differences in hardware quality, stronger corner brackets, higher grade bolts, and precision drilled plates, making assembly easier and alignment more accurate. Premium brands also often provide a more polished unboxing and presentation with well-organized packaging, labeled parts, and comprehensive instructions, which can save you hours of frustration during your setup. So in short, you're paying not just for performance, but for build quality, ease of use, and overall ownership experience, things that may or may not be worth it to you. Number 10, hardware compatibility is also a big deal. Although most of the time, most sim racing cockpits will work with most sim racing products, it's not always the case. For example, Fanatec's CSL Cockpit can only use Fanatec direct drive wheelbases. In the past, I've also had to drill holes into many pedal plates or wheel decks to mount less popular gear. And then finally, some specialized sim racing wheelbases actually benefit benefit from side mounting, in which case you'll have to purchase the right brackets. So all of this is to say to keep compatibility in the back of your mind. Number 11, and this might be a hot take, but I'd avoid dedicated formula-style sim racing cockpits. Sure, they look undeniably cool, but the compromises generally are not worth it unless full immersion in driving formula-style race cars is your only priority. You see, you'll often sacrifice comfort, versatility, and ease of getting in and out, making it less practical for long sessions or other racing disciplines. Number 12, and another hot take, cockpits like the Trak Racer TRX and the next level racing FGT Elite 160 heavily advertised based on their interchangeable seating positions, letting you switch from GT style to Formula style on the same rig. In reality though, that novelty wears off fast. After a few swamps, you'll likely stick with one position because the hassle of readjusting monitor stands, FOV, cable management, and everything else quickly becomes more of a pain than anything else. Number 13, you could have the fanciest sim racing cockpit with the fanciest gear, but if you have bad cable management, it'll still look pretty bad. So invest in $10 Velcro ties on Amazon and spend a few hours tidying everything up, as trust me, it will go a long way. If however you want something more specialized, companies like ModdedSim also sell cable management solutions for a more streamlined professional look. Number 14, on the subject of ModdedSim, they and other third-party companies also sell awesome accessories like cup holders, phone holders, keyboard holders, etc., which will elevate the look and functionality of your rig. Lucky for you, I just made an entirely separate video on just that, and you can view it right after this. Number 15, higher-end sim racing cockpits are expensive, and although you can save money on most using my discount codes, linked in the video description, you can also save a lot more money by visiting the used market on sites like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. So as long as you don't get murdered, you can usually find great deals and avoid the hassle of assembly, taxes, shipping, wait times, etc. Number 16, on the subject of being on a budget, you can also take the DIY route. I've seen DIY sim racing cockpits be made out of wood, PVC pipes, and everything in between, so if you have the skill, the desire, and the relentless passion to persevere, you can make your dreams a reality on a serious budget. Wow, that was inspirational. Number 17, if you're the opposite and just want to buy everything at once, I recommend the following accessories. Seat sliders, trust me, you'll want them. Butt kicker mounts if they're not already included, a PC mount, surprisingly useful, and a mouse plate, also surprisingly useful. Number 18, take inspiration from what others have already done. Buying and putting a rig together from scratch can be daunting, but by visiting the sim racing Reddit, by watching my SimTour project videos, and by just doing your due diligence, you'll get a far better idea of what type of products will work best for you. Number 19, if you don't have the space or a budget for a sim racing cockpit, consider that there are other options available. For example, you can have an entire sim racing cockpit mixed with a coffee table from a company called Trak Racer. Now, in a more serious note, you can also buy a wheel stand, which will be sturdier than a regular desk, but also more affordable and portable than a dedicated rig. And finally, number 20, this video has taken forever to make, so please leave a like if you enjoyed, but make your rig your happy place. Add custom details like a nameplate with your country and name, add LED strips, add stickers, decals, do whatever it takes to remind you that this hobby is not only realistic, competitive, and expensive, but also your happy place and tailored to you. It's 1 in the morning. Goodbye.